2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on Newstalk STL. And you can visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
Life's legal challenges deserve experienced representation. For over 15 years, Cole Combs Attorney at Law has been serving St. Charles and surrounding counties with comprehensive legal expertise. From tax preparation and estate planning to family law and criminal defense, Cole delivers personalized solutions for your unique situation. You have traffic tickets, need a business formation, real estate matters, one call will handle it all. Cole O. Combs Attorney at Law. Call 636-949-0010 extension 3 today or visit colecombs-law.com.
Hey, it's Susie Moore. If new flooring makes you think hassle, think again, because Michael's Flooring is changing the game. For over 30 years, Michael's has been locally owned and trusted for quality, variety, and amazing service. Whether it's carpet, hardwood, laminate, luxury vinyl, or ceramic tile, their expert team makes installing new floors exciting, not stressful. That's why customers keep coming back. Visit Michael's Flooring at St. Peter's, Starting Prairie, Creve Coeur, or online at igotfloored.com. That's igotfloored.com.
Why leave your company's story to chance? In today's digital world, video content isn't just an option. It's essential for your success. At Blue Ocean Media Group, we've spent decades crafting compelling visual stories for businesses just like yours. From concept to completion, our award-winning team transforms your vision into powerful video content that connects with your audience and drives results. Don't trust your brand to amateurs. Partner with Blue Ocean Media Group. Visit blueoceanmediagroup.com today, and let's bring your story to life.
News Talk STL. This hour of the Allman Report brought to you by STL Fenceworks, celebrating 50 years of industry-leading service for fence, deck, and leisure space solutions. Visit stlfenceworks.com.
Good afternoon, everyone, and happy Tuesday to all of you and yours. This is the Allman Report on News Talk STL. Jamie Allman here with you. John Steele, thank you for the compliment on my shirt. I just feel springy, you know what I'm saying? It's beautiful out there, 64 degrees. Jamie Allman here, Ashlyn there, and this is the beginning of the 3 Martini Lunch. And let me tell you something, people. This is the minute before we went on the air, the photos popped on the screen. The FBI releasing surveillance photos, and they're pretty graphic. I mean, they're really clear, and they are of a person wearing a ski mask. There is a picture, and this is in front of her house, so it must be the Ring camera, but this person's wearing a ski mask and has a backpack, gloves, a kind of a windbreaker type of outfit, and pants, obviously. But the ski mask is pretty. It's like a lighter shade of ski mask. But one of the pictures, and I believe it's where it looks like the person is punching out the Ring camera, and but these are pictures that were taken before the Ring camera was punched out, and so it's pretty amazing that you were able to get those, and you can very distinctly see the person's eyes, even though there is light. The eyes, obviously, the pupils are bright, but it's a pretty good shot of the person's eyes. I'm not sure whether you could actually make an ID off of that. I'm not sure. And John, you ask a good question, because I think this is an important one for sure. John asked, why did they wait on these? Wouldn't you think most of this would have been solved since the criminal was photoed? So here's the thing, John, and this is what I think happened, is I think they now know that they're not dealing with a kidnapper per se, or someone asking for ransom. I think for a time there, and this is just me, I don't have anything hardcore to back this up on, but I'm just trying to give you a sense here. So if they were dealing with a kidnapper who was doing ransom, they certainly wouldn't put the picture out of the kidnapper and spook him to the point where you wouldn't hear from him again or what have you. I think the fact that they're releasing these pictures it shows that they don't believe this whole ransom thing is real. Because if they were having some kind of interaction, or if they believed they were having some kind of interaction with a kidnapper and negotiating ransom and stuff, if they thought that really was the case, they wouldn't release the pictures. I think now that they pretty much know, well, it seems like they know they're not dealing with a typical ransom kidnapping scenario, so they feel comfortable enough to go ahead and release these pictures, because they know they're not going to ruin anything at this point, because they think they don't think they're dealing with a person who is doing the ransom calls or communications or whatever. They think it's not real, because if they did, again, they wouldn't release the pictures and possibly screw up the whole operation and spook the person and have the person then on the run at that point. John is mentioning too, when seeing the pictures, I did not notice that, but that there's a mustache involved as well. I don't know. I couldn't tell because the light was so bright on the face. I couldn't tell whether or not it was a mustache. So I don't know, but it looks like this is a person who was also armed in the photos as well. So, man, I mean, at this point, then what's going on here? Why are you doing this to an 84-year-old woman? What is the purpose of let's just pretend some rando guy in a ski mask going to some 84-year-old woman's house and then basically coming away with nothing? There's it's not like she was robbed. There wasn't any money at the house or anything like that. So who knows? And at this point, and again, we're all just kind of thumbsucking this and navel gazing. I get it, so I don't want to go too far on it. But the situation here seems to be that there is a strong possibility that she was murdered by somebody she knew. And I said this from the very, very beginning, and unfortunately, I didn't really believe that she was alive. But that the ransom stuff is all kind of a ruse to make people believe that she was kidnapped, when in fact this was just your run-of-the-mill family murder that somebody's trying to cover up. and distract the police about. I'm surprised they've gotten away with it this long. And then Donna comes in with something. I think this is pretty interesting. She's saying, what if the photos aren't real? You know, I mean, now we're watching too many movies, right? But that's not beyond the realm of comprehension. I mean, you know, so what if they're trying to trick whoever it is into some sense of complacency by faking a surveillance video of somebody or surveillance pictures. And it's interesting because I'm surprised they don't release the video part of it. So, you know what I mean? Like, why don't they release the video part? So anyway, that would be interesting if this was the whole thing was like fake. But I don't know. I'm telling you though, now they're showing the video. Okay, I don't want to. You guys need to pay attention to the Allman Report, but you can also have a TV on. Now they're showing actually the moving video, and this person is walking. I don't know what he's picking up or she's picking up or whatever. Some kind of bag or rock or something like that, and then at that point, trying to destroy the Ring camera. Then they're going to go out in the yard and see if they can find a rock or something that will destroy the Ring camera. And what's interesting is that we also don't know for sure that it's a man, right? Because you don't know whether it's a man. You can't. You mean I guess you could sometimes tell, but there are ways of being able to conceal any sign that you're a man. The person looks somewhat stocky, and you know, I don't know. It might be a woman. I don't know. But anyway, I think once this happens, and they've released this, I think it's going to be a matter of few hours at this point, I would imagine. And again, the reason, as John pointed out earlier, and then I'll move on here, the reason, as John pointed out earlier, that they have not released the photos until now is because I think they thought they actually really had somebody who was a ransomer and a kidnapper, and I think they're and so they didn't want to show the pictures in order to ruin the investigation. And I think right now, at this point, they are pretty sure that it's not a ransom. They're not dealing with a kidnapper or nothing like this, and they're just going to go ahead and release the pictures now because they don't have any fear of ruining some kind of negotiation they're doing, because apparently there actually isn't any. And so we'll see how the whole thing goes. In the meantime, ladies and gents, so you guys look forward to this. It's going to be kind of a treat, I have to tell you. So this is odd, I need to be. When I deal with people, okay. So here's the deal. This is kind of funny. So when you're dealing with people who are, on the East Coast and West Coast and everything else, I always tell them when I'm setting up the interviews and things like that. Okay, so now the moving person found what they did was they picked up a bunch of like weeds or sticks or something, and they're trying to put it in front of the Ring camera. This doesn't seem like a very professional job here. You know what I mean? It's somebody who's fumbling around and went out in the yard, grabbed I think it's a woman, to tell you the truth. But anyway, grabbed like a bunch of sticks and weeds and is trying to push them into the Ring camera to conceal whatever's going on. This is like this is comical. Watching this person do this because they're all dressed up like they're in some kind of a kidnapper movie. You know what I mean? They bought all the right stuff. You know, they bought their kidnapper costume, but then they show up at the door and they're fumbling around with a bunch of weeds and a bunch of all this stuff and trying to push them into the Ring camera. I mean, so I'm not quite sure what kind of planning went into this. I guess the situation regarding the family must have known if their family was involved. They knew that she had a Ring camera on her door. So they would have, if they were going to do something, they would have planned ahead on that matter. So maybe that rules out the family, and maybe it's somebody else that maybe somebody in the family hired. Who knows? But this person does not seem, and John accurately describes it as, it seems unserious. This person, this is like the Keystone Cops of kidnapping. I mean, this person, and again, everything the person's wearing looks like it came right out of, the Bass Pro, Like everything's brand new. Gloves are all everything's shiny, brand new. Like they just ordered it off of Amazon, the kidnapping outfit. And then the backpack, and then the ski mask, and then they can't figure out how to conceal the Ring camera. My goodness gracious, it's all nutso. So anyway, back to my story about who was supposed to be on today and still might be, but eventually I'll have him on. So you guys know Ben Bankas. I introduced you to him, at least to some of you, a while back. He's a comedian. He's a conservative comedian. He's like really right up our alley. And you can't find too many of those, and he's really good at it. He sold out his his appearance in Kansas City. He sold it out, and he's supposed to be here. Phil sent me his schedule. So he's going to be here May 7th, 8th, and 9th at Helium, and we're going to make a big deal out of it. I just wanted to get him on early to get everybody interested in going. I thought we were going to have kind of an Allman Report outing with you folks, and we'll figure out what day that's going to be. We're going to talk to those people there. But he's in Kansas City on the 6th of May, and he sold out Kansas City, that second concert there. And he sells out almost everywhere he goes. He sold out in New York City, April 21st, 4th, and April 25th. He sold out in New York City. And again, this also proves, because he's all over the place, he was going to appear in Minneapolis, and they canceled his appearances there. So because of, he's got a few Renee Good jokes. So, that's how that goes. But anyway, he's going to be on the show. He was supposed to be on at noon, and he thought it was actually, he's on Eastern time. He thought, and he was told Central time, as people told me he was told Central time, but he still called at 11 and during Vic and Ken's show. And so when I came in, I said, we're waiting on a call. He goes, he already called at 11. I'm like, okay. And Ken and Vic told him to call back, and I don't even know whether they know who he was. It's Ben Bankas. They could have stole him from me, They goes, Ben Bank, maybe you could just join us. Thank you, Vic and Ken, for not stealing my guest. You could have, but maybe not. So I'm going to go ahead and take a quick break here, and then we're going to come back. Yeah, this is on the fly. Just be glad you're not flying Allman Report Airlines. You guys would be freaking out right now. What are the pilots talking about? Where are we? What's going on? Is that him? All right, when we come back, ladies and gentlemen, the great comedian Ben Bankas, one of our faves, coming to St. Louis in May. In just a few minutes, Ben Bankas on the Allman Report on News Talk STL.
This is 101.9 and 94.1.
Millennial Trump supporter. I listen to it every day. Seriously, you get it.
News Talk STL.
John Beal Roofing reminds you we are in the stormy season, and that means if you have even the smallest leak in your roof, you could soon have a much bigger issue. Call John Bill to make sure that your biggest investment is protected. That call can save you major dollars. If you do get hit during a storm, John Beal has a rapid response team. Call 1-800-NEW-ROOF. 1-800-NEW-ROOF. 1-800-NEW-ROOF, John Beal.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Louis Gohmert, he's a former congressman.
Bob Gibson
yeah.
pitching for the St. Louis Cardinals in the World Series. And so I snuck my transistor radio in my shirt and had the little earpiece into my ear and tried to keep my head turned where the teacher wouldn't see, but was listening to the World Series in class.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps, weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL.
Hey, Columbo here for Rockwood Charcoal. Rockwood is made from 100% pure Missouri oak and hickory, so you're cooking with the best and supporting local industry and a local business all at once. There's over 100 area Rockwood retailers. Find yours at rockwoodcharcoal.com.
If you have a tree that you think is dead, it might not be dead. Why don't you try to save it first with Roots Plus? Roots Plus can help you save your tree and keep your cash. RootsPlusLLC.com. That's RootsPlusLLC.com or 314-440-3662.
This is Larry Connor's commentary on News Talk STL.
So far, Team USA is looking great in the Winter Olympics, but those who hate our country are doing everything they can to use the Olympics as a leftist tool. Last week, we saw a 27-year-old snowboarder say, "It's a little impossible for me to wear Team USA gear. Just because I'm wearing the flag doesn't mean I represent everything going on in America." Now, first, I'll point out and agree, no one said you had to surrender your freedom of speech to get on the Team USA. But can you consider that if you were lucky enough, blessed enough to make the team, you should be thankful, not use it as a platform to push radical ideology? The left is so bent on making our nation look bad. They love this guy. Well, look, he's done a quadruple backflip. Now he says, "I cannot wait to represent Team USA." What happened? President Trump was among those calling him a loser, questioning should he even remain on the team. Maybe he suddenly also realized, if I can win a gold medal, I'll get almost $40,000 tax-free. In my opinion, he can say what he wants. But if he's going to trash our nation, he does not deserve to be on Team USA.
Get more Larry Connors on Larry Connors USA.
Tonight at 6 on News Talk STL.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Three Martini Lunch, Common Sense Radio, the Allman Report on News Talk STL. So I want to refresh your memory if maybe you don't remember. So a while back, I brought you one of my national heroes. His name is Ben Bankas. He is an amazing comedian. He is a brave comedian. And he is, on behalf of all of us, making it okay to laugh again when maybe you're not supposed to. And love this guy. He started coming across my Facebook Reels because I do look at a lot of comedians and things like that. And thank God he did. I want to just play you a couple real quick snippets before we get to the great Ben Bankas, who is coming to the Helium Comedy House, and that is in early May. I'll give you those exact dates coming up, but here's Ben.
That's my favorite videos to watch right now, are the woke white women trying to stop ICE at the Home Depot parking lot. She's got like her Lululemons on, and she's got like the Starbucks. She's like, "How can you do this? How can you separate him from his family?" And the ICE guys are like, "We're not. We already got them."
I like Trump. I like Trump. Think whatever you want, but, you know, I like Trump because I have a dad. And if you have a dad, everything Trump says, you're just like, "Oh, shit, that's my dad." Yeah, my dad said that last week. That's Whereas Kamal is like, "Oh, mom's drunk again watching CNN."
Remember when liberals used to just smoke weed?
You know, now they don't. I don't even think liberals smoke weed, man. This weed could have saved Renee Good's life. She just took a bong toke before that excursion. Yeah, I don't know if we should go. This seems insane.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Ben Bankas joining us right now live. He is on his way to St. Louis in May, 7, 8, and 9 at the Helium. You guys know we're going to put together a group from the Allman Report and be there and laugh with Ben. He has sold out his appearance in Kansas City, as I told you earlier, too. He sold out in New York City in April. He's selling out all over the joint because people love the guy, and there's a segment of our population that sometimes goes unnoticed. But they're at the Ben Bankas appearances. Ben, thank you for your patience with the time zone, all that nonsense. How you doing, brother?
What's going on, man? Yeah, I'm currently on the way to St. Louis right now for a show in May. We're really excited. We're taking the we're coming in
You're taking
old-fashioned way.
You're taking Gavin Newsom's railway, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, man, we can't
we're
wait.
very excited to come to St. Louis. I have my Kevlar ready and Kevlar vest, everything you need.
Yeah.
Everything you need to get inside downtown.
Well, you know, I'll tell you, man, definitely you've got a real super friendly crowd here. I mean, you had balls, man. You were going to go to Minneapolis. Weren't you going to do like 4 or 5 shows in Minneapolis?
We're going to do 6 shows in Minneapolis. Unfortunately, the club, I think it's called the Concentration Camp Comedy Club. They basically just were under pressure from open mic comedians that like to do Tuesdays there or something. I really don't know, but they didn't want it to happen, so it didn't happen. And when we go back, we're going to do a way bigger venue, a way better venue. So
yeah,
that's how it goes. And the demand in Minnesota is through the roof. There's many other cities in Minnesota that want me to go there. So we're looking at potentially doing that, potentially, coming back in a bigger venue very soon.
They ever pay you? Because I know. I remember seeing you talking about it, and you're like, I'm going to make them pay me for canceling this. So hope you got some money out of it at least,
They're raising money to pay me or something. I don't know what's going on. They're doing a benefit, stolen land benefit for stolen land for illegal immigrants.
Yeah, right.
And
Exactly.
Gonna, hopefully raise some money to get me paid. But
yeah. So Ben,
we'll see what happens.
Yeah, Ben Bankas, we're really looking forward to seeing you, and I think I'm going to bring a ton of people there one of the nights. We're going to decide which one it is. And so when you started your act, and I'm not quite sure when you did, I just remember you popped on my reels, and I was like, I couldn't get enough of it. And so I was curious, were you surprised? Well, you probably weren't, because you knew there was a segment of the population out there that thinks about things in a common sense and even comedic manner. But were you surprised at just how much people loved you when you were performing?
Surprised that people love me. I mean, I'm grateful that people love me for sure. And I think that my comedy it's for adults. It's for consenting adults who want to go to a show and, hear what they want to hear. And that should be common sense that, that should be allowed in America, of all places, where there's freedom of speech, and especially when the left is arguing so much for freedom of speech, yet they clearly want to silence anybody who isn't saying what they're saying. So, I don't see a lot of, right-wing people trying to get things canceled. I see them maybe complaining, like Bad Bunny.
Yeah.
People complained, but they don't want Bad Bunny to go broke. They just don't know why everything has to come with the left-wing message and nothing is allowed to come with any other message.
Yeah, totally right. Now, do you think that it's interesting because I love the way you handle hecklers. Like, it's always a surprise, I'm sure, to comedians that someone would actually come and see them and pay to see them and then somehow be offended by something they would say. I'm sure every comedian has a story like that, but sometimes it's worth the price of admission just to see you handle somebody who's mouthing off. It's great.
You're breaking up a little bit, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But
I can tell on my end, too. I was talking about how you handle hecklers sometimes, and I can't believe people sometimes will come and pay to see a comedian and then gripe about something they're hearing from the stage.
yeah, I mean, people get upset at comedy shows because their egos get, attacked a little bit. And sometimes a lot of people who go to comedy shows think they're really funny. And then the comedian makes a joke and they see that, oh, I could never do that. It makes them upset, and they want to interact in a negative way.
Yeah.
But I've been doing this for 15 years. It's nothing I haven't seen, and I'm kind of prepared for all those situations, and they usually end up being pretty fun and memorable for the audience.
No doubt, man. And I love the fact that you're sold out in New York City because twice, by the way, in April, and it shows that there really is an appetite for this kind of comedy, this kind of laughter, this kind of insight. And there's really an appetite for it where you wouldn't know that if you just kind of watched mainstream media or did whatever people are telling you people are thinking, because it's a whole different world out there. And a lot of them wind up sitting and watching you on stage.
So here's the thing. A lot of the left-wing people think that they can, they think that even if my comments are largely positive and majority people who want to go see me, but the even bigger majority is the people who just watch my content and like it, or just watch it and share it and don't even like it, that people don't see that, they see the tip of the iceberg. They don't realize all the people who are normal people with great jobs, owning great companies. A lot of my fans are really interesting, cool people, and they come out and they're not crazy in the comments going nuts. They're serious people don't really do that.
Yeah, right.
So the majority of people are normal. You just don't see it because they're not making videos because they don't have time, or it's not in their best interest.
Yeah. So you're Canadian, right?
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, and you make kind of sometimes make a deal about that too. But in Canada, I always thought that the Canadian people, sometimes just based on what I've been able to see and how they have reacted to President Trump and everything, didn't really have much of a sense of humor. But clearly they do, because was your comedy act born in Canada?
Canada has a lot of propaganda, and they suppress people's speech in different ways. I mean, number one way is, the shift away from wokeness that a lot of America saw when Trump got back in, especially with big companies like Facebook and Google and stuff like that, getting rid of DEI, or the companies that did get rid of DEI. That didn't happen in Canada. So there isn't the same level of speech. Plus, it's the same as, a New York State where, oh, he's selling out in a place that you think is woke. Well, why do people think it's woke? Well, because all the journalists there are woke, all the establishment are woke. And that's what they perpetuate to everybody else, so that everybody thinks that's what it's like. They don't let the people they would never put me on national news in a positive light. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
They'd never be proud of. They'd never be like, a born Canadian is in America doing great things with comedy and being successful. They would never say that. They would just say, this shouldn't be allowed, basically.
Yeah.
But we are selling out across Canada, and we are doing theaters in Canada. And yeah, there was an article the other day that came out from Kitchener, Waterloo record that they wanted, these people were calling into the newspaper and begging for the shows to be canceled, even though they're fully sold out. And what they're saying there is basically the normal, regular people who want to go enjoy this and laugh about all the craziness that's happening that's created by the left. They're not allowed. You're not even allowed to go and laugh at it.
Yeah.
They don't want them to even. They don't even. And it's not good. It's not good. So the shows are going to go forward, and people are going to have a good time. And I think people who are this crazy really need to take a step back and go, okay, it's a 2-hour show. Like, after that, I'm gone for at least a year. Like, you'll be all right. Like, everything's going to be okay.
Yeah.
It's a comedy show. People come there to laugh and laugh at things that the people who want the shows to be shut down, they don't want to laugh at those things. Okay, then don't come.
Right.
I don't know what they want to laugh at. I don't see them laughing ever. I just see them, talking about a point they just proved and why they're proving this point. And, Bad Bunny was the most amazing thing I've ever seen. It's nonsense.
Yeah. I really, yeah, man, I really loved your observation about President Trump, because so many people, sometimes it's okay just to say, you know what, he did say that, but that's like something my dad would have said, and I just overlook. I mean, everybody takes what he says and takes him so seriously all the time, especially the ones who get pissed off. They just can't get past just the simple things he says, and they get all lathered up about it. And I really actually think that you're onto something, because I think some of the hatred of him comes actually from people who actually kind of hate their dads. I'm sorry to say, but sometimes I think that's true.
Yeah, people who have had, there's people who've had rough lives who still like Trump. But there is something to say about people, there's nuance involved, and the left wants to take away all nuance and just look at things as black and white and just say, well, it doesn't matter. He was trying to be funny. It doesn't matter if he was trying to, what the context, and those were his fans, or, with Trump, those are his followers or supporters. Doesn't matter the context. What matters is something was in there was racist, and that means everything he said was racist. No, it's this character attack and trying to take away from being able to be an interesting person. Yeah, interesting, cool, funny people aren't always they're never politically correct, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I mean, they may be polite and they may know how to act and have manners in certain situations and not bring things up. That's one thing, but they understand the nuance of political incorrectness being used in speech, and when you hear somebody say something like that I say, or even some of the stuff Trump says, it's cathartic. It's cathartic to hear Trump say something that you agree with that technically you're not supposed to say. That actually is widening the free speech in the country. It's creating more free speech. It's telling people, actually, you can speak up and say what you think. And that's kind of what the left hates about it, other than that people like it. Like, for my comedy, they hate that it's successful. I talk about it in my stand-up.
Yeah.
That they don't actually hate the content. They don't hate the words. They just hate that other people love it and that it goes against what they're trying to preach, which is really just, a bunch of BS.
Yeah.
It's just crazy stuff.
Yeah.
It's just, and it doesn't apply. Like, I don't want to teach my kids about the crap they want to teach them. And I think most people don't. So,
yeah.
And I saw somebody today in Canada, they're doing those, interviews of politicians who did something maybe wrong. I forget what it's called. They do them in America all the time, where they sit the guy down in front of a committee and all that.
Oh, yeah. Impeachments, things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and they asked a woman something, and they go, so you don't think that bringing millions of people into the country made the housing crisis worse. And and the woman goes, listen, I understand that logically that is what, I know how people, but it's, and then tries to prove, but no, it's actually because of colonialism and all. No, it's just lying at this point and trying to destroy the history of how everything came to be the way it is, and pretending like there's this alternate history where we live in just everything's evil. It's like, no, that's not a way. It creates anarchy, and at the end of the day, that's kind of what they want.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't want anarchy. I want people to get along, laugh at each other. My shows are diverse. People of all backgrounds come to my show, and they all laugh, and they all get it, and they're all smart, and that's it. I mean, and the people who are upset at me are also diverse, but mostly white.
Yeah, but I've seen your crowds though. You do have some people of color there. You have Hispanics showing up. You've got black people showing up, and I would think that ultimately, I know for a fact because I went to a school that was 80% black, and I know for a fact that black people will love your sense of humor if they can just hear it. Because I definitely think that's the kind of edginess and the kind of bravery that I honestly know black people love. So once that catches on, it'll be great, and I think you'll see that for sure.
I talk in my act about how much I love black people, and still making jokes about them, but also how the left is trying to group all black people with like immigrants now, and that's not fair because I'm talking about illegal immigrants.
Oh yeah.
In a way, they try to group them together, and it's really unfair, and it's actually kind of disgusting because black people are American. They're much more American than somebody who came here illegally in the last 3 years, and it's crazy to do that.
Yeah.
All the black people have a lot of fun at my shows. We sell out in everywhere, and it's a vibe. My show is a vibe, and it's like a concert. It's like almost like a rap concert in a way, the vibe of it, because there's stuff being said.
Yeah, throwing down, man. And you know what? As to your point about black people, black Americans probably as a group have been harmed most by illegal aliens because they're all dumped into the inner cities and they're taking all these resources. And literally, I've maintained that the whole mass migration and illegal migration has really actually set black people to the back of the bus again, and they are not happy about it, man. I've seen these people testifying in Philly and in Chicago, and they totally get what President Trump is doing about deportations and securing the border. They totally understand it.
And look, people, you have to have a sense of humor in this. If you want to get through this world and be successful, you have to have a sense of humor. It's very hard to take every little thing seriously to the umpth degree and get anywhere, because you'll just, that's why you see leftists screaming and crying and freaking out in their cars, because they're not willing to just step back and laugh at either themselves or the situation. And that's how you move forward. Laughter is the best medicine. That's what I'm bringing to the table. And, people don't want to laugh, and then they want to be angry at me for making people that they also say they don't like laugh. Like people in my comments, I've seen a few where they go, he's awful, but who are these people at these shows? Get rid of all of them. Who's going to see this? There's a portion of the population living in a crazy bubble where they really don't think that anybody outside of it is like a legitimate person. And I'm sorry to say, but the Republicans' side is right now is a more successful side, especially independently. Obviously, what about Hollywood? What about all these leftists? Yeah, but they're all propped up. They're all propped up by a pre-established system that was established for different reasons, like Hollywood. I mean, mostly to enter. I mean, there's always been propaganda elements, but it was there to entertain and wanted to, box offices and numbers were important. Whereas now it's kind of just a machine that operates, and there's these, quote unquote successful celebrities that, yeah, but they've had so much backing. And who's trying to cancel their show? Nobody.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, here's me, an independent, made it myself, posted on, did it myself through social media from Canada, coming into America legally, hiring lawyers and doing, and they want to cancel my show. So that's the real wild part about it all.
Yeah, man. And that's the other thing too, because I think that when it comes to what you have done for comedy, and if you don't mind me saying, because I know comedians sometimes are like, don't be over the top about it, but what I'm saying is, to me, I've always said President Trump was kind of our Moses when it came to clear thinking about our country and about what was really what we could do and what wasn't being done by the uniparty and everything else. And I would say that you're kind of our Moses when it comes to comedy, because it's freeing us to look at entertainment and comedy in a way we haven't been able to, because a lot of people would otherwise 5 years ago get fired for things that you say. So you're kind of like a cross between Moses and Lenny Bruce. Let's put it that way. Get your costume ready.
I mean, that's a very, very kind. Very kind. I don't know. I'll remember that. I'll tell my friends that.
Yeah.
But people are living in a world where they're not saying the things that they're thinking, and they're not, and that's stifling, like, to people's intelligence. And when everybody just goes, I'm not going to look at any of the facts, any of the statistics. There has to be another way to look at things so that we understand it from a more, righteous point of view, or whatever it is, when it comes to crime statistics or creation statistics. It's always supposed to be, well, there's another reason why. I know that the statistics point to the obvious answer, but
yeah,
let's not use mathematics. Let's use anthropology and radical sociology to come up with the answer. And it's ridiculous. And I think a lot of it has to do with those people who went into sociology and anthropology. We made fun of them too much 15 years ago. We're like, you're never going to have a job. You're never going to be anything.
Yeah.
You're never going to do anything. So then they came around and they're like, how about we do everything? And so we poked the bear, so to speak, of, these woke people that without wokeness, they would have no job.
Right.
So they want to protect it. And it's, there's just,
yes,
it's these people, I guess they felt that they were silent before. So now they're forcing everybody to be silent, but they never had to be silent. They just had to be, it is a meritocracy. The cream rises to the cream of the crop, whatever. The cream rises. They're trying to stop that and make it, well, yeah, this person is better than that person, but we got to help this person because, in the societal blah, blah, blah. And it's making, it made Hollywood. I don't watch movies really anymore. I don't go to the movies. I used to as a kid. I used to watch movies all the time, all the Batmans.
Yeah.
Everything. Indiana Jones. I love movies. All the funny, Beverly Hills Cop and Beverly Hills Cop and just everything. Die Hard, and there was just it was actually, there was no political stuff really in it. It was just fun. And now there kind of has to be political stuff because it's such a part of our life, and I get that. But, my basic point is it's all coming from one side. When somebody comes along from the other side and does something interesting or successful, the other side tries to make sure that it doesn't get success. So
yeah,
I'm here to say I'm going to, and they're going to watch, and they can watch and learn.
BenBankas.com, and one of my listeners just said on the Facebook page, it got my tickets to see Ben in May, and that is indeed happening, May 7th, 8th, and 9th at the Helium right there at the Galleria, which is going to be great. And we're going to get a whole contingent of listeners to the Allman Report to go down there and check it out. So we're really looking forward to that. I think one of the things you said, too, Ben, that I thought was really cool is you said the truth, and that is, hey, I kind of did this myself. Like, I had to do this. It's like selling books out of the trunk of your car, I had to. I wasn't able to be. I wasn't on any of the late night shows or all that kind of stuff, and so this is really hugely organic and amazing, and we're so happy and really privileged that you spent as much time that you did with us this afternoon, brother, and can't wait to see you when you're here.
Thank you, man. Thank you so much. Looking forward to meeting you guys. Can't wait to be in STL. We're going to do it big, and appreciate you for having me on. Thank you.
No doubt. We'll be waiting. Ben Bankas, thanks, brother. Appreciate it. Looking forward to seeing you. And
God bless.
yeah, God bless you too, man. He's pretty amazing. So, wow. I didn't expect him to spend that much time with us, and that's great. I love it. We'll pick a day. I'll try to see if I can pick a day really soon. I got to figure out what days of the week those are, 7th, 8th, and 9th, and then we'll figure out the day we're going to get down there. So it's Common Sense Radio. We'll give you the latest developments with the Guthrie thing. There's some really pretty consequential developments going on right now. It's Common Sense Radio.
I think we should be able to have a civil conversation.
The news and talk that matters to St. Louis.
This conversation has completely made me crazy.
This is complete insanity.
News Talk STL.
Do you know why I endorse Cafe Napoli, all the locations? Visit any of them, and you will quickly appreciate the quality of food, service, atmosphere. So maybe I'll see you at Cafe Napoli in Clayton, Napoli Kirkwood, Napoli 2 in Town and Country, Napoli 3 in St. Charles, right next door to Napoli C. Or maybe you'll find me at Napoli Brothers Pizza and Pasta in the Chesterfield Valley. Now you know why I endorse Napoli, NapoliSTL.com.
Ever feel like just a number in a waiting room? Hi, I'm Shannon Tribune, Director of Operations with Body of Health Direct Primary Care. Navigating the medical system can be a maze of stress. I'm your personal guide at Body of Health. I handle the messy parts of medical care, the logistics and complex coordination, both in and outside our walls, so you and Dr. Tobler, that's my dad, can focus on what matters most, your health. At Body of Health, you're not just a patient, you're part of the family, because that's healthcare the way it ought to be. To learn more, schedule a discovery call at bodyofhealth.com.
If you love your pet, which I know you do, then they deserve the excellent treatment and care they'll receive at Pacific Animal Hospital in Pacific, Missouri, a full-service veterinarian facility. Originally built and grown by my dad, Dr. Bill Jones, a new generation of wonderful veterinarians and staff at Pacific continue to provide outstanding medical, surgical, dental, boarding, and grooming services for your favorite furry friends. Our family entrusts the care of our pets only to the experienced docs and staff at Pacific Animal Hospital. You should too. Call them today, 636-257-2100, 24/7 at PacificVets.com, PacificVets.com.
Number one for live and local conservative talk.
Enough. No drugs, no theft, none of that. Get all of that out of the country. The Democrat Party is gone. It hates the country. It hates the Constitution.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Good afternoon, everyone. Now, we're going to check in with Scott Fawn a little bit later on, too. And by the way, that was cool that Ben spent as much time as he did, because Ashlyn said he didn't seem very happy when he called in because we had a time crunch, time thing. I'm going, oh, no. But he certainly was happy after all. So we'll give you those. We'll get this all together for May, but just plan on May 6th, 7th, 8th with the Allman Report crew. It's Common Sense Radio.
Want to work with a winner? Follow the multiplier. 279 times growth in total market cap in the past nearly 30 years. 50 times growth in client assets. And ranked the #1 wealth management firm for employee advisor satisfaction by J.D. Power 3 years in a row. Choose a winner. Choose Stifel, where success meets success. Stifel Nicholas & Company Incorporated. Member SIPC and NYSE. For J.D. Power 2025 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards.
Hey everybody, Senator Eric Schmidt here, inviting you to the statewide Lincoln Day celebration
February 20th through the 22nd. It's going to be a great weekend with fellow patriots. We'll talk about how we're going to continue to save this country, deliver on President Trump's agenda, and also celebrate America 250. So join us there. It'll be a lot of fun.
Learn more about the 2026 Lincoln Days and get tickets at Missouri.gop. That's Missouri.gop. Paid for by the Missouri Republican Party. Jennifer Finch, Treasurer.
Looking for the perfect way to say I love you this Valentine's Day? Anthony's Produce has you covered. Get our amazing combo special. 1 dozen beautiful roses and 1 dozen delicious chocolate-covered strawberries for just $39.99. It's romance made easy. Available 9th through the 15th only, so don't wait. Order online at anthonysproduce.com. Call 636-936-0496 or visit us at 701 Junkerman Road.
Kathy Connor from Connor Roofing is here. Kathy, how you doing?
Good. Hi, Vic.
You know, when you need a roof, I don't want to call a stranger. I want to call you.
Yeah, thanks. At Connor Roofing, we're more than just a roofing company.
How long have you been doing it?
Since 1993.
And year after year, storm after storm, you guys are always there.
Because this is our home, too, Vic. Our kids go to school with your kids. We cheer for the same teams. Go Blues!
So support your neighbors. Call Connor Roofing at 314-375-7475 or CONNER roofing.com.
Thanks, Vic.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Breaking news at Town Hall. I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. Authorities investigating the disappearance of Today's Show host Savannah Guthrie's mother, Nancy, more than a week ago, have released the first surveillance images today showing a masked person on her porch the day she went missing. Earlier, correspondent Ty O'Neill filed this report from outside Nancy Guthrie's house.
Neighbors in this quiet community continue with their daily routines, stopping by to see what, if anything, is happening. A memorial of flowers and notes grows by her mailbox. The sheriff had said investigators would continue to go back and forth from the house, gathering evidence and searching for clues after she was last seen here on January 31st. The FBI says it hasn't identified any suspects or persons of interest in her disappearance.
FBI Director Kash Patel posted those new images on X, saying that they show what he described as an armed individual appearing to have tampered with the camera at Nancy Guthrie's front door the morning of her disappearance. Congress is facing another Friday midnight deadline to agree on federal funding.
The government is funded through September except for one agency, the Department of Homeland Security. Lawmakers are back on Capitol Hill this week to figure out how to fund DHS, which has more than 250,000 employees. Democrats are demanding changes to how ICE enforces the nation's immigration laws. ICE already has funding thanks to a separate bill passed last year, but if there's no agreement this week, funding would dry up for FEMA, TSA, and the U.S. Coast Guard. Greg Clugston, Washington.
Retail sales held steady in December, and a belated government report just released today.
Shoppers pulled back the pace of their spending in December, closing out the holiday shopping season and the year on a lackluster note. Retail sales were unchanged in December from November, when business was up 0.6%, according to the Commerce Department.
That is correspondent Julie Walker reporting. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Have you noticed losing weight is harder than it used to be? You're eating better and exercising, but the scale barely moves? The real problem isn't willpower, it's metabolic dysfunction. And standard dieting just makes it worse. PhD Weight Loss has helped thousands fix the root cause of stubborn weight. Take their free metabolic assessment at fixmyweightloss.com. Fixmyweightloss.com. It's quick, personalized, and shows why your body is resisting weight loss, so you know exactly what to fix. Visit fixmyweightloss.com. That's fixmyweightloss.com.
From Lionsgate and Kingdom Story Company.
I Can Only Imagine by Mercy Me, one of the most beloved songs of all time.
I mean, what did you think was going to happen? You're just going to ride off into the sunset, no more struggles or pain?
Comes the highly anticipated I Can Only Imagine 2.
God is in fire. I mean, it's beautiful.
Imagine what God can do again. I Can Only Imagine 2. In theaters February 20th. Rated PG. Parental guidance suggested.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
What a day. Temperatures topping out at midday in the mid-60s, but they'll kind of be steady and actually go down a little bit from there. Sun stays out. It'll be a little breezy out of the north, though, bringing in some slightly cooler air. And even though it will be a cooler day tomorrow, we're still looking at sunshine. We're still looking at above normal in the 50s. In the KMOV Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Kent Earhart.
Hey, it's Vic Porcelli here with our great friend Chris Cooper from Serenity Wealth Management. Hi, Chris.
How are you, Vic?
I don't want to put anybody else down, but that when you go up and visit you at Serenity Wealth, your place looks like home.
So a lot of financial advisory offices, they have, the big mahogany desk or the big marble entryways and things like that. The stock market channel on the TV when you walk in the door, right? That doesn't really drive a good conversation. Good financial guidance and advice starts with a good conversation. People are nervous. People are afraid to talk about finances, right? And so you can see a little standoffish. Well, my objective is to try to have a good, casual conversation. By having those conversations about life, goals, objectives, it's what makes me understand what our financials are supposed to fund.
So if somebody does want to have a good conversation, how do they do that? How do they find you?
Our website is the best way to do that because you can get all the information you need, understand where we are, get a little bit more information, all that. SerenityWealthNow.com.
Reach out to Chris and Stacy today at SerenityWealthNow.com.
Investment advice offered through Fortis Capital Advisors, LLC.
Is diabetes keeping you from enjoying life's special moments? At US Med, we understand the challenges you face, and we're here to help.
With US Med, I can finally manage my diabetes without it managing me.
US Med offers a wide range of services to simplify your diabetes care. Personalized care plans, convenient access to cutting-edge diabetes tech, and knowledgeable support. Plus, we'll check your insurance so your diabetes care may be covered at little or no cost to you.
With US Med, I feel confident and control of my diabetes. I can finally live my life to the fullest.
Don't let diabetes hold you back. Choose US Med and experience better birthdays, better adventures, better anniversaries, and better everything. Call now. US Med. Better service, better care. 800-515-2380. 800-515-2380. 800-515-2380. That's 800-515-2380.
This app is absolutely fantastic.
Yes, I listen on my phone.
If you have a phone, you have a radio.
It is awesome.
Download the all-new News Talk STL app and listen anytime, anywhere.
Good afternoon, everyone, and happy Tuesday to all of you and yours. It's the Allman Report on News Talk STL. Jamie Allman here in Ashland there. Want to get you updated very quickly on the developments regarding the Guthrie home. They've released some fairly explicit video. It's very clear. It's ring camera video of a person who looks like they literally just pulled out their little kidnapping uniform that they bought at Bass Pro Shop and went up to the door and then for some reason said, "Oh, there's a ring camera. I'm going to go and grab some sticks and some leaves and try to put them inside and cover the ring camera up." I'm thinking, so I thought all along it was a family member, but how would a family member not know there was a ring camera there and then would suddenly have to do something about it? I don't know. Maybe because the family members actually weren't there but hired somebody to do this. Who knows? And if you look at the video, I know that they say the person has a mustache, but it could be female. If you kind of look closely at the eyes, they look almost female, but I don't know. I have no idea. It could be a woman, so. But everything they're wearing is like brand new. It's like the kidnapper clothing catalog. And they have a backpack, and they say they're armed. I don't see anything in the hands, but that whole thing with the weeds and the sticks trying to cover up the thing. They're going out into the yard just picking up leaves and sticks to cover the ring camera up. It's like, what is this? So we'll see. This looks probably like we're getting towards the end here. It's not going to be too long before they have somebody, I think. Even though obviously it's not distinguishable technically the face. But, keep in mind that they put a bunch of January 6th protesters in prison based on seeing them behind masks. So there's ways you can do it. So, especially with the FBI, there are ways you can do it. All right, let's go to one of our patriotic fighters down there in Jefferson City. His name is Scott Fawn, Missouri Times, my friends. And Scotty, welcome to the show. And were you down there when all the folks arrived in buses for the tax protest? Did you see them at the Capitol?
I was. There's such a difference in types of protests, right? Some folks come to throw a fit, and some folks come to have an event and then to go talk to their legislators.
Yeah.
And this was one where you can learn some stuff. The Capitol is a great place because we are a very big and a very diverse state. And it is the one place you can kind of sit in the rotunda during session and you can get people's takes from all over the state. And it's sometimes kind of surprising. They might be there for a tax rally, but they really care about gun control and then not wanting the government to take their guns. It is my favorite part of being in the Capitol is you do get to talk to everybody from around the state, and especially folks that came here to make a point and to talk to their legislators. Those are the fun people to cover. The folks that come here to break stuff and throw fits, I don't have a lot of time for.
Right. I think that's interesting. You point out the diversity in terms of thought of Missourians and backgrounds and things like that. I think I get a little taste of that, for instance, when I would take the kids to Arrowhead to see the Chiefs play, and we'd be staying in Kansas City. And I love people in Kansas City, and there's something about Kansas Cityans that's different than St. Louisans. I couldn't tell you what it is, but I know
totally.
I know they're really super nice, but it does show you that there's really kind of a lot of different worlds out there that maybe we don't always see or know about.
I think it comes down to the fact that Kansas City is the easternmost western city, and St. Louis is the westernmost eastern city.
Oh.
There is you got there by the river, right? St. Louis was founded by the river. That's really not true about Kansas City. It was founded by the railroad and the stagecoaches and actual roads.
Yeah.
Most folks were settled when Kansas City was actually settled, it was because they had a road and a railroad connecting it. And those communities developed differently. But yes, we are very different. The folks up in North Missouri, they're kind of Iowans almost. They're very reserved. You got Central Missouri, your German Catholics who they don't drive their money. They don't wear their money. You get your evangelicals in the Springfield area. And then in Southeast Missouri, we're a little different. We're a little more Southern. We like to have a good time. We'll buy beer with our Baptist friends with us instead of waiting until we drop them off. It is really a very distinct state, and that's what kind of makes it fun.
Yeah, I met with Holly Rader just not too long ago, just to say hi and reconnect, and I could listen to that accent all day long. I mean, she's from the Cape area, right? But
she's from a little further south of the Cape, but she's from the Cape area. She's from Scott City. Yeah. And that accent, I'm with you. I just let me pull up a chair.
I know, exactly. It's just great, and a lot of people talk like that. So I appreciate you pointing that out. So on the level of the income tax and the abolishing of the income tax, I know, Florida, Texas, and Tennessee have done it. It doesn't seem like it's that hard. I don't remember hearing whether or not they were gradual in their elimination of the income tax or whether they just kind of did it outright and it was cold turkey time. What's your take on how that approach, what is the best approach for Missouri on that?
Well, I think this is a gradual approach. I think that Missourians will go along with this if you have a good plan. Now, the actual plan they're going to present, they've had to rewrite that a couple times. Making the numbers work on this is very complicated, as I think everybody would understand. But they're right now struggling to come up with something that's close to revenue neutral. Now, I think what you don't want to get into is what Kansas got into. They had a supermajority of Republicans, and they went and they made changes quite quickly, and the public just pushed back on it. They just weren't going to have it. and they had to go back and raise their taxes. And I think everybody wants to avoid, while today everyone's gung-ho, you get a state that's underwater financially, and all of a sudden I think you're going to, you want to be sure the public's coming along with you. And I think that's what the governor and the legislature is trying to do, is come up with something where we can get to zero, but we don't lose the folks while we're on the trip.
Yeah, I think that's true. I mean, unfortunately, what happens is, you start to talk about, whenever you start to talk about putting the government on a diet, the usual suspects always come out and kind of put the guns to the head of first responders and educational institutions. They always go first to the things that they could quite possibly scare people enough about, instead of the reality is that there are a lot of ways that you could trim government without having to suffocate first responders and teachers,
Well, it's like if a school board puts a bond up and somebody says, what if this doesn't pass? They always say, well, we're going to have to get rid of the band and the football team and all the things people like. And that's their way of using their power to try to force you into doing something. In my opinion, Governor Kehoe's a winner. And I think he's got the support to do this. I do think they're moving slow because this is a big deal, and there's a lot of moving parts to this. And I will tell you, in the House, there'll be a substantial amount of Republicans vote no on this. And I don't know that you have 82 unless it makes sense. Governor Kehoe is going to have to sit in a room and give people his word that he's got this worked out. And if he does that, I think it passes. But I do think there's going to be some folks from rural communities who do benefit probably more from state government than they put into the till, that are going to have to, you're going to have to feel like this plan will actually work. And you got some Republicans, they don't want to end up in Kansas, because a lot of suburban folks, David Gregory, who is a rising star in the party, I would say a future attorney general, if David Gregory's district, if the state looks like it's in chaos and bankrupt, that's a district that could flip. David did not win his election by a lot. And that district has trended more and more. I believe that Kamala Harris was right statistically, really close to Trump in that. There is a downside for some folks if we don't get this right. And I think not the hesitation, but the letting this process work. They really want to vet this out so they don't get out in the middle of the stream and then start losing folks and the public start to turn. I think Kansas showed everyone it's important to do this, but it's important to do this right.
Talking with Scott Fawn with the Missouri Times. And, that's interesting when you mentioned that about Governor Kehoe. That's a really cool observation, because I think he really is, I don't want to dump on Governor Parson. I'm just saying that Kehoe seems to be a pretty muscular leader. Like it seems like he's got this down on the leadership end.
I think there's some truth to that. I mean, I think, Mike Kehoe is a winner. He's a winner because of the leader. And to me, there's differences between the two leaders. Now, every governor starts off highly engaged with the legislature. And usually over time, they have bad experiences and they do less. Parson started off more engaged with the legislature. Now, Kehoe is starting off with a more conservative agenda with that legislature. Nixon, every governor starts off wanting to get along.
Yeah.
And it seems like over time, those trips through the Capitol get a little more spaced out. And then before you know it, they're inviting the legislators to the governor's office or the mansion. And so I think, to be fair, most governors start off gung-ho working with the legislature, and oftentimes that ebbs a little bit. We'll see what happens with Kehoe. But right now he is a fully engaged governor walking the halls. You saw last year, look, the St. Louis Police Department, putting that back under state control, very, very, very difficult. Very difficult legislatively. He got that done. He put that win on the board. The congressional maps, he put that win on the board. Cutting back some of the worst parts of Prop A, they got that done. They put an abortion amendment on the ballot, and they put an IP reform on the ballot. Kehoe's riding high. The Chiefs were a setback. There's no other way to look at that. That was a setback for the governor's office. He responds to that. I think he comes in and gets his tax deal done, and all of a sudden he's back on top again.
Yeah, it's interesting when you mention the police board. It is especially a really amazing feat, considering that it had gone away and you had to bring it back. I mean, a lot of people thought, well, once it goes away, I mean, you're never going to be able to bring it back, and he did. So that's pretty crazy.
it was a very heavy lift. A mutual friend of ours, Nick Shore, was right in the middle of that fight. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't at first understand what kind of morale boost that was going to be. But you're just guys on the street, man. They're riding high right now. They're excited about the chance they have to go make some difference, and it's kind of fun to sit back and watch. Really, the morale boost. Not just there's guys I did meet at the Union Hall, but these are guys just street cops that are excited about their job now because they get to make what they feel like is a real chance to clean up the streets, and that morale boost is more than I thought it would be, and it's fun to watch.
Yeah. Did Kansas City go through the same thing? I can't remember. I seem to remember them dissolving a state police board and then bringing it back, or am I mistaken about that?
They're still under state control and have been. It really dates back to the Civil War.
Okay.
As long as they've been under state control the entire time, so they are state controlled, just like really almost exactly like what St. Louis is now.
Yeah, right.
And their cops do not want to change it.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing. I think I know a few of these police board members, and they're super serious about what they're doing. And I do have, but Scotty, it's funny, the whole police board member thing. I remember when I worked at Channel 4, and Julius Hunter was a member of the. He was a police commissioner, anchor Julius Hunter, and he had this fancy badge, and he had his Cadillac or whatever it was. He was given like a little cherry light he could put on top of the car and everything else. It's pretty cool.
It's a cool tradition.
Yeah.
Of how involved they used to be, and here's my thing. Am I confident this is going to dramatically reduce crime in St. Louis? I don't know about that. I'm not qualified to assess it. I will say this: I think common sense would lead you to say what they were doing before wasn't working. And I don't see how it gets worse by doing it this way. So the people that are just universally negative about this, I'm like, well, your way of doing it we know that was a resounding failure. So I don't understand people that want to bury their heads in the sand and say there's no problem here. I think, the truth is St. Louis has taken some hits in my professional lifetime, starting with TWA and going on down the road.
Yeah.
I think if, smart people buy low, sell high. I firmly believe, and the governor is a great salesman for St. Louis. This is essentially me quoting him or paraphrasing him. People want to buy St. Louis right now. It's the time for smart people to buy in St. Louis. But until you get the crime under control, no one's even interested. No one's interested.
Yep.
You got to get the crime under control. And if they do, I'm a believer that St. Louis's renaissance can start. But I just don't think it starts until people feel safe.
Yeah, and the police board, I know I talked to a federal judge who I see on a regular basis, and he showed me all these pictures, all these things of all these people in fentanyl stupors and, causing problems, assaults, that kind of stuff. And he said, the thing that has to happen is they got to figure out how to get the chief to create this downtown police district, which they currently do not have, really, and like 30 officers just covering downtown would be a real step in the right direction there. So I'm not quite sure how realistic that is, but hopefully.
Oh, there's a piece of good news there. As part of the legislative package last year, they allowed for this policing district. Now, the way I understand it, and I'm not an expert in this, but as I understand the way this is, and maybe they have to do some more administrative work to get this started, but downtown business owners and property owners can hire their own police force, and they pay for it privately. They've got it. There's a lot of training requirements. You have to actually be a cop, but they can pay the city to have cops around their business 24/7, almost like your own personal security guard, but it's working with the police department. It was something that Bob O'Loughlin was very much for, a large hotelier and real estate developer in downtown.
Yeah.
He kind of led the charge on this, and they have that ability. Now, as I understand it, these laws just went into effect August 28th. So there may be some more administrative work they have to do to actually get this up and running. But the framework for that, the state's part of that, was passed last year. So now you can go hire your own policeman. That's got to be, like I said, a lot of training requirements. But you can hire your own crew and go protect your property.
Yeah, wow. I mean, that sounds great. It's probably even preferable to a certain degree for the businesses and for the city. So hopefully that'll work out. Scott Fawn, Missouri Times. So we find you it's MissouriTimes.com, correct, my friend?
That's correct. MissouriTimes.com. Come anytime. We'll get you updated on what's happening in state government.
Yeah, man, and thanks for the portrait of the Missouri and the diverse communities in Missouri. When you put it that way, I was like, wow, that's really super cool. I never thought about it that way, so I'm gonna look into that a little bit more. But that's really cool that you have that kind of portrait of Missouri that I think a lot of people haven't heard before. So thank you, brother.
All right. Always good to talk to you, bud. Take
Good
care.
talking to you too. That is Scott Fawn, Missouri Times, and we'll keep you updated on this development in the Guthrie case. I don't know, Ashton. I think that's a woman. But
Did you see Phil's comment?
oh, what?
He asked if you could define
A woman. Ask Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson. No, she's. It's okay. Forgive me, but you don't see too many pear-shaped dudes. I'm just saying. Maybe I'm wrong, but. Well, we'll keep you updated on what's going on. It shouldn't. Savannah Guthrie says she believes that her mom's still alive, and that actually might be the case, and that would be amazingly great. That is for sure. It's Common Sense Radio.
I think we should be able to have a civil conversation.
The news and talk that matters to St. Louis.
This conversation has completely made me crazy.
This is complete insanity.
News Talk STL.
Time's a ticking. It's February 10, and that means that we have Valentine's Day coming this weekend, and that also means you have time to stop on in to Newsteaders Fine Jewelry, wowdiamonds.com, right there at Doherty Ferry and Big Bend. That is where Diana, Anna, or any of the crew, all jewelers, will turn you on to some really new and unique things that are the latest rage, so to speak. Like, for instance, they've got a lot of gold. Like, there's a lot, and gold is really back. It used to be a lot of women thought that gold was kind of 80s, but it's actually made a resurgence because everybody kind of went to sterling silver and all that other stuff, and now they're back to gold, and they've got plenty of it. I guarantee you. Beautiful gemstones, the sapphires and the emeralds that they have in stock are just absolutely beautiful, coming in all kinds of formulations as it relates to bracelets and earrings and necklaces and things like that. And of course, we have the diamonds, which are, of course, lab grown or mined. It doesn't matter what you're thinking. Maybe somebody's gonna, pop the question. If you want to, go ahead and grab that, engagement ring 4 days before Valentine's Day, then knock yourself out. But they also have some playful stuff too. That would be the stacker rings, which I really kind of fell in love with when Diana was showing to me last time I was at Newsteaders, right there, Doherty Ferry and Big Ben. And these stacker rings are great. They're just wardrobe enhancers, so they're little thin rings, and they have whatever kind of stones you want in them. And you can mix and match the rings. So you buy like 3, 4, whatever. You can start with 2. And then they just, depends. You can wear 2 or wear all 4 or mix them the next day, whatever it happens to be. It's just kind of fun as a wardrobe accessory. And ladies, if you're a Valentine's Day gift giver yourself, then, of course, the Bulova watch line is always a winner for the guys, the Frank Sinatra Bulova watches. And they also have kind of more of the sporty, poolside Bulova watches, the skiing Bulova watches, those kinds of things. So check it out on the web. It's wowdiamonds.com. That's wowdiamonds.com.
1 in 4 women will have an abortion before the age of 45 in this country. That's the tragedy we must work to stop. Mike Ferguson from The Morning Show here, and that is why Reach Reproductive Health is here, to empower parents to save the lives of innocent children and to see these families come to Christ. And you can be a part of saving and changing lives. So pray and visit outreachforlife.org to learn more, volunteer, and donate. That's outreachforlife.org.
1949, the last time a Republican held the top post in St. Louis City. A gallon of milk was 84 cents and streetcars ran down Grand Avenue. Unfortunately, St. Louis City streets are no longer the epicenter of family and business life. In the 80 years of Democrat control, our city has been on a steady decline.
Hello, Kirk Ilsinger, chairman of the Republican Party for the city of St. Louis, and we believe it is our duty to provide a different path forward. I invite you to our meetings the first Thursday of every month. Learn more at stl-gop.com.
Paid for by St. Louis City Republican PAC. Curtis Farber, Treasurer.
This is News 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton, and we're proud to be the official winter weather source for News Talk STL. The First Alert Weather Team is working hard to keep you ahead of the big weather changes and help you plan your day. So stay connected this winter with Channel 4 and News Talk STL.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Common Sense Radio. It's the Allman Report. 3 martini lunch. So, man, I here's the thing, a couple of things, and I'm sure you're probably up to speed on the latest with the video, the Ring camera video, and John was on earlier right at the top of the show and had said, why are they just now releasing this video? And it appears that it is pretty much a confirmation that there really isn't any kind of negotiating going on with any kind of kidnapper or ransom or whatever, that's not real. Because, and I'm no expert on this, but if you're in negotiations with a kidnapper, like a real, and you really feel like you are, you're not going to release a picture or a video and screw up the deal and scare the person away and do whatever. I think this is a proof that they have determined that this is basically going back to a street crime, essentially, that may or may not involve the family. I still think it does somehow. And this video, I'm telling you, I think it's a woman. I am not kidding you. And so anyway, apparently a DEI kidnapping hire because she doesn't know how to deal with. I'm just kidding, but still, you look at this because the video, it's so confusing to me because you look at the video and the person is like desperately trying to cover up the Ring camera with a bunch of leaves and sticks, and I'm like, how does that work? Because what happens is they walk up to the door, and then suddenly they're kind of like looking around, and they go out through the entranceway. There's a little entranceway to the porch of the house, and they start looking around on the ground for sticks and leaves. I'm like, what? And then what would happen is he or she picks up the sticks and leaves and then starts to kind of smush them into the camera. I'm like, what is this? So you'd have to imagine, and Kathleen points out there's a mustache, but you're a woman, you get a fake mustache. Apparently, whatever they bought some kind of outfit that looks like it's your standard issue Eddie Bauer kidnapping outfit. And it there's something just completely weird about this whole thing. Backpack, gun in the front of the waistband, but I don't know. We'll have to see. But the thing, my early belief that it was a family member is kind of cast in doubt because a family member would know the Ring camera was there, and a family member would make more of an effort to plan for the Ring camera. Right? I mean, it looks like this person like is suddenly surprised there's a Ring camera and has to go out into the yard and grab a bunch of sticks and grass and leaves to cover it up. So I don't know what that means. Either the person, even if it is a family member, is so dumb they forgot that there was a Ring camera or whatever, but it doesn't seem like the person coming to the door knew ahead of time that there was a Ring camera. So that would kind of rule out the family, but doesn't rule out the family hiring somebody to do whatever it was. So this is really all very odd. And we know it doesn't obviously look like it's some kind of cartel job. So that looks like that's kind of been ruled out, right? It's not like some, band of banditos, who've taken her. So I think this is going to be narrowed down pretty fast. And obviously, they've been in the house. They've carried out boxes and things like that of Annie's house and other places. And so any one of those things we're seeing in the video is if they found one of those, then they're dead to rights. But we'll see. If they knew that they've had this Ring camera for a while and obviously did not find anything that would link the family to what's going on here. So I have no idea what's happening, but it's crazy. But I think it's going to probably end up by tonight. They're going to have something going on. All right, this is interesting, and this is good to know. So Maria Bartiromo, and this is a little old from Monday morning, but I wanted to focus on it because it has some local interest, and that is the former Anheuser-Busch executive. His name is Anson Frericks. He was really super happy about Budweiser's Super Bowl ad and looked like they were really actually trying to get away from the whole Dylan Mulvaney debacle. And I was at CVS the other day, and I was I had to pick up a prescription. I was going to get some Budweiser, and they were out of Budweiser, but the whole case was Bud Light was still there. Like so they were cleaned out of Budweiser, but Bud Light was still there. So people are still not buying Bud Light apparently. So that's kind of crazy. I don't drink Bud Light anyway, but I was looking for the full on Bud, and that was gone. So, but all that was left was the Bud Light. So they still have a problem. But he was interviewed by Maria Bartiromo about the commercial, and he said this is a big turn. This could be a big turning point for AB.
Advertisers paying $8 to $10 million for a 30-second ad spot. My next guest is a former top business executive, and he picked his top commercial from last night. It's from Budweiser, his old company. Take a look.
It's a good commercial. Flying Clydesdale.
You crying? Something's in my eyes.
Good pivot from Budweiser. Joining me now is former Anheuser-Busch executive Anson Frericks. Anson, great to have you. Welcome. Tell us more about your favorite commercial there.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, advertisers, as you mentioned, are paying $8 to $10 million this year for ads, so they better be getting bang for their buck. And I think they do that for two reasons. One, the commercial has to be memorable, and then second, it needs to change consumer behavior. And as you know, over the last couple of years, Budweiser's been in a tough spot. There were some commercials that they had with Dylan Mulvaney that were memorable, but the consumer behavior that changed, they lost tons of consumers. I think this is a step back in the right direction where you're having Eagles, you're having Clydesdales, you're having Classic Rock, Freebird. I think this is changing the consumer direction back towards people wanting to drink more Budweiser and drinking more beer.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a great point. And I mean, I wasn't a real fan of the boycott anyway, only because I knew that the people who were going to suffer most from the boycott were the people who work for AB and the distributors. And I knew some distributors who were really here in St. Louis who are really taking a bath because of the boycott. And so you had people who worked for the distributors and the drivers and all these people who had their vacations canceled and their bonus checks canceled, all this kind of stuff. So it was really kind of having an effect on our neighbors, to tell you the truth. And so I wasn't a big fan of it, even if I'm not a big fan of Bud Light. I just wasn't a big boycott Bud Light person, but a lot of people were, and that's their prerogative. And it definitely behooves AB to kind of get back into the game and know its brand. And you're noticing too that AB is also back to its old corporate style that I was familiar with back when I was a reporter at Channel 4 and beyond, and that was nobody from AB talks. Nobody from AB goes squawking on a podcast or anything like that. And they learned their lesson when the CEO went on the after Mulvaney thing and made it worse. And so they had a public relations firm, Fleischman Hillard, that was the one that handled everything. And you rarely saw any person in the AB corporate ladder speak. And that's a good thing, because what happened is when the reason why people started boycotting Bud Light was not really because of only because of Dylan Mulvaney. It was because of the response when people asked questions about it. And I think it had been just a one and done, one off and whatever Dylan Mulvaney influencer thing, it probably would have survived and then died a little later on. But what happened is one of the brand managers did an interview. And you guys remember this, and she just ran down the Bud Light brand and called it Frat Boy brand and everything else. It's like, man, you guys have lost your corporate discipline. You've lost your messaging discipline, and you're letting people speak who shouldn't be speaking. And that is what really led to the eventual ruination of the brand, which might be back. I thought it was a good commercial, so I was happy about it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, one of the leaders of the tax protest down in Jefferson City is going to join us with an update on how things went down there. I know Scott touched on it a little bit. We'll figure out what kind of response they actually got. And we'll follow up also. We'll keep you updated on all the developments as it relates to the Guthrie case. And there's a really interesting interview. It was on Sean's show, but it was J.D. Vance talking about this supposed rivalry with Marco Rubio, and he lays it out there pretty clean. If you missed it, I have it for you. I want to play that for you, too. It's Common Sense Radio.
So many ways to listen to News Talk STL.
Join the conversation. All you have to do is say,
Hey Alexa, play News Talk STL.
Welcome to News Talk STL, conservative talk radio for St. Louis.
Ladies and gentlemen, Santino's Cigars and Cocktails. Oh, I had the best time down there about a week and a half ago. It was just so great, and Mike Marino is just a fabulous host. And so I love going down there and hanging out and checking out some of their tequilas that they have there. But, man, you look at their choice of whiskeys and things, it's really pretty darn amazing. Santino's Cigars and Cocktails right there off of Highway 55 and the Imperial exit, SantinoCigarCocktails.com. And so they've got this gigantic humidor. I knew that I knew it was big, but I didn't know it was going to be this big. I'm walking into a whole separate restaurant practically. That's how big it is. It's a gigantic humidor, hundreds of brands of cigars, pipes, pipe tobacco, accessories, aged cigars, some of them 7 to 9 years old, and they smoke just beautifully. a smoke filtration system that is used in Las Vegas. It's the kind of thing that keeps the air relatively smoke-free. So that's always good. A lot of people who smoke still don't want to just be breathing smoke all the time. And they can cater food for your party or event. You know, the Sicilian-style cooking and dinners, lunch and dinners at Santino's, just amazing. I actually just had the simple thing like a pizza with this Sicilian pizza sauce, and man, was it delicious. Food prepared by hand. All the sauces are made from scratch. Multiple TVs, so you never miss any kind of the big game. And they have a separate wine room and bar that's non-smoking, so you can enjoy great selection of liquor or wine if you want to avoid the smoke. And it's a great place for your events, for your parties, for your work events, or whatever it happens to be. They have a whole separate room down there where you can play poker and do all this other great stuff and still have a really and great time in the Santino style of entertainment. Check it out on the web at SantinoCigarCocktails.com, SantinoCigarsCocktails.com, right off there, Highway 55 at the Imperial exit.
Duck and goose season still on, and Whistle Pig Outdoors has everything you need to finish strong. Hey, it's Mike Ferguson, and right now get 40% off all Taka hunting clothing in Mossy Oak Bottomland. Bow broken? Well, their archery pro shop sells Hoyt and Bear bows, custom arrows, and they provide expert service. Whistle Pig Outdoors on Main Street in Troy, or visit whistlepigoutdoors.com, whistlepigoutdoors.com. Whistle Pig, get back out there.
Hey, Jamie Allman here. When your car needs attention, trust who I trust. Benchmark Complete Auto in Valley Park. 25 years as a family-owned and operated company, Benchmark is your Napa Auto Care Center for nearly every maintenance and repair, using the latest technology and top-quality parts. Need help with the bill? Well, ask about Napa's Easy Pay financing. Mention Jamie Allman and News Talk STL and get 10% off. BenchmarkAutoRepair.com, BenchmarkAutoRepair.com.
Honey, he says we're in legal trouble and we're going to lose our retirement. We have to get to a crypto ATM now.
This can't be right.
It's not right. I'm Attorney General Catherine Hanaway. We've received reports of devastating new scams involving crypto ATMs.
Let's report this.
We're here to help. Report suspected fraud at 800-392-8222 or visit ago.mo.gov.
Sponsored by the Missouri Attorney General's Office. Colombo and Company.
Jasmine Crockett issued a warning to President Trump, and the administration continues to tout tariffs as we wait for the Supreme Court. We'll talk about all of it Tuesday with Crane Durham and Susie Moore.
Live and local, weekdays at 2
on News Talk STL.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's Common Sense Radio. It's the Allman Report on News Talk STL. It won't be long now that these pictures and the video is released. You know, surprisingly, it's like, let me put it this way. Normally, ski masks are really, it's hard to tell who's behind them. But if you know who the person is, this is like the most clear face behind a ski mask I've ever seen. Because the eyes are so distinctive. If you know that person, it'll be immediate. So it's like the most, I can't describe it really. It's the most detailed ski mask face I've ever seen. You know who it is. I mean, not always, but if this person is known to somebody, immediately they're gonna know. They're gonna know. Anyway, let's talk to our friend and tax relief hero, Dennis Ganal. He is with Mo Tax Relief, and he is down in Jeff City, as they promised, with busloads of individuals who came from all reaches of Missouri, and they stopped by the offices of our legislators to appeal to them to get behind the elimination of the Missouri income tax and other issues as well. And if I'm not mistaken, Dennis also informed me that he's got a live one with him, and that would be Ben Brown. And who is right there with him as well. I'm assuming I'm correct on that, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right, Jamie. Hello, how you doing?
Good. Senator Ben Brown is there too, and so I'm sure you have a sympathetic ear from him as well. How was the reception?
Well, we ended up with about 70 people coming in from across the state. Everybody stayed. We had some great speakers, including Senator Brown. And I thought I'd bring him onto the show so he could talk about why he's supporting zero income tax.
I love it, man.
Great to be back on, Jamie.
Hey, Senator, thank you. So, what are you thinking?
So, I spoke at the event today. I had a great turnout of enthusiastic people. I see this as a real opportunity for the state of Missouri. You look at any growth metrics. One I look at that puts out an annual publication is the U-Haul Growth Index. They put out an annual report that ranks all 50 states. Starting at 1 with the states that are experiencing the most growth, that are having the most success, all the way down to 50, the ones that are actually losing the most population. And, one thing I found when just going through these numbers, 3 out of the top 5 states that are the most successful, experiencing the most influx of new population, new businesses, have a income tax rate of 0%. You could expand that out, and 4 of the top 7 have a 0% income tax rate. At the bottom of the list, you have states like California that have income tax rates in the double digits. And I took that data last year when I was pushing a similar bill in the Senate, and I broke it down just to get a good picture of Missouri compared to our bordering states, states that we're in most direct competition with. And, some of the pushback you get is, well, Missouri, we've, done these other income tax reductions. Why are we not seeing the growth? And this really painted a very clear picture as to why. So you put Missouri and see how it stacks up, and I plugged all this into a spreadsheet. Missouri actually only ranks 6th in terms of lowest income tax rate. So we're, in the bottom half, not too great. Coincidentally, or maybe not so much so, we're also ranked 6th in terms of population growth or loss when compared to the bordering states. The 5 states that are all outperforming us, that are having more success, more population growth, all 5 of them have an income tax rate that's lower than what we have in this state. Out of the 3 states that are lagging behind us, all 3 have a higher income tax rate. So while, I'm not going to sit here and argue that income tax rates are the only determining factor when deciding where to move, live, work, raise a family, the data doesn't lie. It's certainly one of not the most predominant one.
Yeah, well, Senator Ben Brown, if you just look at how people are moving, and even from Missouri down to Florida, I mean, we've seen the population drain down to Florida from Missourians with means. They've gone down to there, and people and businesses and people moving to Tennessee. And Texas as well. So you're right. I mean, it is a factor in where people go.
100%. And, this spills into other taxation areas also. Personal property tax, I've always found that as one of the more egregious taxes as well, because if you have to pay the rent to the government year after year for your property, do you really own it at all? So, you mentioned Florida. Now, Florida, what they've been doing is moving to eliminate property taxes. And if you listen to any of the speeches on this topic given by Governor DeSantis, he would state that the reason they're in a position to do this is because of their 0% income tax and just the way that has driven so much in terms of revenue, population to their state. So I know there's some debate over, a lot of people will say we need to address property taxes first. Though, we have a model that's been used, real world examples of other states that have been able to accomplish this or move closer towards achieving this through eliminating the income tax. So, we get the growth, then that opens so many doors that we just don't have right now.
Yeah, and what is the schedule then for this? So I know that it's there. I know that there is actually a joint resolution, and so what's the timeline on this? And obviously, you guys adjourn in May. Is that correct? So we've got until May, basically. So is that going to happen? Is there going to be a vote on this and everything else soon?
So yeah, it would have to happen in order to appear on the ballot this fall. It would have to pass before we adjourn in May. The House bill thus far has been the primary vehicle for this. Dennis, I don't know if you could speak to kind of where that is in the process, because they keep me a little busy over on the Senate side to track as closely as I'd like over on the House.
Yeah.
So over on the House side, they've had the hearing in the Commerce Committee, and now my understanding is Ben Keithley, John Patterson, and Bishop Davidson are reworking the language, and I think they're looking to add on quite a bit of, I think, benefits to the taxpayers. Maybe the elimination of personal property tax, some caps on spending, and things like that. And that should then be voted out of the committee, we're thinking, in the next week or two.
Oh, okay. So
be on the floor in 3 weeks, say.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad to hear it, you guys, and thank you so much for your efforts. Senator Ben Brown and Dennis Ganal. MoTaxRelief.org is where you can find them. And what a great event, man. That's a lot of people to get down there at 10 o'clock on a weekday morning. So really, really good work, and we're really happy, and we are grateful for your efforts, you guys. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jamie.
Thanks, Jamie.
All right. Take care. Keep in touch, and definitely will. I want to get to this real quickly. I like this. J.D. Vance was asked by Sean Hannity about this. There's everybody trying to create this kind of rivalry between Marco Rubio and J.D. Vance. I just wanted you to hear what J.D. Vance had to say about it.
People have asked me, well, do you see Marco as a rival? First of all, if either one of us end up running, it's a long ways in the future, and neither of us is entitled to it. So I think it would be ridiculous for me to say, well, Marco's a rival. No. Marco's a colleague. The President of the United States has asked each of us to do two very important jobs, and that's what we should focus on. And there's, when I say that Marco's my best friend, that's no insult to anybody else in the administration, because, when I came into the Senate, Marco was a bit of a mentor to me. He's one of the younger guys in the Senate. He's got, by the standards of Washington, he still has a young family. He's got kids who are in law school and college. And so there's just a lot of commonality that we have. We're both people of very strong faith, and our wives get along well. It's just, he's a good guy.
Yeah, so that's great. I mean, that's, your typical, I didn't know that they were really best friends like that, and didn't realize Marco Rubio's role as a mentor in the Senate with J.D. Vance, and I'm really impressed by that. And I'm glad Sean asked, because everybody's wondering well, are these going to wind up fighting? And I don't know why it is that the left is always so interested in creating some kind of division or fight among conservatives or whatever. They do the same thing with religion. And all these left-wing crazies interviewing bishops, what do you think about Catholic J.D. Vance? It's like they even even pray to God ever in their lives, It's just crazy. So, I'm glad that J.D. Vance and these guys are just going to kind of move forward, stay the course, be the grown-ups, and take care of business. And so I'm glad to hear that. And it's kind of nice to know that these two are close. I think that speaks to, and one of the things we talked about with Dr. Keith Abloh when with his book about the Trump personality traits, is that I think his cabinet is a really good example of how President Trump is a coalescer. He is a unifier. It's so crazy and weird how the people on the left and in the news media always act as if he's some kind of warmonger and he is sowing division and all this stuff. And the reality is he has put together this cabinet, and they all obviously are very confident because they have his trust. And so now you see why they're having no problem. It's almost like they're his children. And, when you're parented, when you have confident parents and everything else, your children flower on the outside. And again, I'm not demeaning them as children, but you know what I mean. It's that kind of leadership, and I think there's a level of paternalistic leadership with his staff and his cabinet. And I think if this were a corporation, they would be making profits like you wouldn't believe. If this were a company, and I kind of think it is. I think it's more, Make America Great Again Inc. or America First Inc. But if this were a company and that was the board of directors, there'd be no problem. I'd be investing in it right away. All right, you guys, Tony Colombo and Company will keep you up to date on the latest developments. Obviously, Tim Jones and Christopher Arps as well as we go into the afternoon. All this shouldn't be too long. I'll tell you that. Ashlyn, thank you so much. You guys, thank you for listening to the show. This is Common Sense Radio News Talk STL.
Tim Jones here for Comprehensive Chiropractic in Eureka, the premier chiropractic and sports performance facility in the region. They've helped me recover from day-to-day aches and pains for years. And here's something special, personal training programs. Whether you're an athlete committed to increasing performance, recovering from an injury, or just want to get healthier and lose weight, their personal training programs will help you reach your goals and stay there. Comprehensive Chiropractic in Eureka, online at cchiropractic.com. That's cchiropractic.com.